4th and goal to go to the 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
Here is Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
All right, and you know, sometimes it's I tell you what, guys, it's just a small world after all, right? The Giants have Joe Judge to thank. Come on, man. Yeah, well, it's possible, right? Because I mean, it's after Judge, left the Giants, he bounced around a little bit, but he wound up in college by maybe Ole Miss. Maybe you've heard of it, right? I can't remember. There was a stat. I can't remember what it was. There was only, what the heck was it? There's only three quarterbacks in history or something like that. I forgot what the stat was. From Ole Miss, 3. Okay. Who have played, I forgot what it was, like more than 50 games in the NFL or something like whatever the heck it was. And 2 of them were Giants, Eli Manning and Charlie Connelly, right? So quite possibly he would Dart, right? Knock on wood, unless he gets something bad really happens to him, right? He's going to be possibly the 4th. I can't remember exactly what the stat was. I mean, maybe it was 10 starts in the NFL or something like that, but there has not been many quarterbacks from Mississippi, okay, who have made it long-term in the NFL, right? It was Archie Manning, Eli Manning, Charlie Connelly, I think, and Jaxson Dart, right? So, but I mean, sometimes it's a small world. There's 37,000 colleges, but right, the one college that the Giants, kept paying a lot of attention to, especially because we needed a quarterback, was Mississippi, and wow, one of our ex-coaches just happens to be down there. Mississippi, right? And say what you want about Joe Judge, right? But he was only more than happy, apparently, to be helpful to the New York Football Giants to help them out with their quarterback search, right? And he gave he was given 2 thumbs up to Jaxson Dart. So, right, all right, where are we at here? Is this it? Bum, 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 bum. Oh, let me go to this one here. All right. Joe Judge helped New York Giants with their pre-draft scouting on Jaxson Dart. I mean, it's, it just goes to, now it does, obviously, it doesn't mean because he was a New York Giant, that was an ex-Giant coach. That's what, I mean, whoever was down there would have helped the Giants with Jaxson Dart. So I'm just not saying, the reason why it was because of Joe Judge. No, but it's just funny because we got our quite possibly our quarterback of the future from the college, and I think one of the guys down there just happened to be an ex-Giant head coach. Well, actually, it was funny because it was the coach. Daboll took his job. Well, maybe didn't take his job. He got fired that, but he's the one who replaced him. You know what I mean? So, but apparently, Judge was only more than happy to be very helpful to the New York Football Giants. So, in a twist of fate, former New York Giants head coach Joe Judge emerged as an unlikely ally in the team's quest for quarterback Jaxson Dart. As a senior assistant at Ole Miss during Dart's standout 2024 season, Judge gained an intimate view of the signal caller's mechanics, mindset, and meteoric rise. I'm sorry. Judge's expertise proved invaluable when the Giants delved into pre-draft evaluations. Dianna Russini of The Athletic reports that the Giants meticulously scouted every top quarterback prospect. Yet their sessions on Dart invariably concluded on a high note. Giants head coach Brian Daboll and front office executive emerging with a unanimous verdict. He checks every box. Okay. This glowing consensus wasn't a mere coincidence, though. The Giants tapped directly into Judge's first-hand knowledge, leveraging his dual perspective as both a former Big Blue coach and as a Rebel insider. Believe it or not, the Giants also leaned on some unlikely help. Ole Miss assistant quarterback coach Joe Judge, the former Giants head coach, helped the team learn everything it needed to know about Dart. The Ole Miss assistant quarterback coach was the former Giants head coach. What a small world, huh? Judge, who helmed the Giants from 2020 to 2021 amid turbulent times, offered unfiltered insight into Dart's poise under pressure, arm talent, and leadership, qualities that echoed the precision Judge demands from his charges. This collaboration underscores the NFL's interconnected web where past ties fuel future gambles. As the 2025 NFL Draft loomed, Judge's endorsement may have tipped the scales, positioning Dart as the Giants' potential franchise savior. The early verdict, so far so good. Where we at here? I think this thing says kind of the same thing. Speaking of summer, several people with the Giants told me New York knew since then that Dart was the guy. They just didn't want to rush it. Before the draft, they did their homework on all the quarterbacks, but every meeting with the old Mississippi's Jaxson Dart ended the same way, with Brian Daboll and front office members walking out saying he checks every box. Believe it or not, the Giants also leaned on some unlikely help. Ole Miss assistant quarterback coach, Joe Judge. Giants also knew they weren't alone. The Saints, the Steelers, and the Browns all had shown interest. Now, the thing is that, that was one of those things was Dart going to make it past the Saints at number 9? Was he going to make it past the Steelers, I think, at number 20? Once he made it past those two teams, that's when Shane decided to jump back into the first round and pull the trigger on the deal, right? New York tried to play it cool, but the Giants also knew Daboll's personality. Fiery, competitive, intense, and sometimes a little unhinged, was a perfect match for Dart's energy. So, I'll tell you what, it's one of those things you really start to think about, right? If he checks all the boxes, makes you think. If he checks all the boxes, if they were doing it with Ward and they were doing it with Gabriel, all these other guys, right, and Dart and Chuck and right, if he checked all the boxes, if they had the first overall pick, would they have taken Ward? Or would they have taken Carter? They had taken somebody else. Kind of interesting. You're never going to know. But, if they kept walking away with, unless maybe knowing they had the third pick and possibly knowing, right, that the Titans were taking Ward. And they were, that wasn't, they weren't going on. That was Ward. It was like the year before, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniel, they weren't moving, right? The New England Patriots, they had their guy. Those three quarterbacks were being taken. There wasn't nothing to do about it. So maybe they crossed Ward off the list because they're like, the Titans are taking Ward. We need to zone in on who's going to be the next. Who's going to be the other guy? But it makes you kind of think if they did talk to Ward and all these other quarterbacks and Dart was the one that checked all the boxes, makes you think if they had the first overall pick, who would they have taken? But thanks to in part to Joe Judge, right? Because Judge was down there, right? He's seen what he can do, right? And Joe Judge may not be a very good head coach, but he's got a lot of knowledge up there. He wouldn't have been around New England all those years if He wasn't that smart. So, okay. Tip your cap to Joe Judge. And it just goes to show you, right, is that there's 32 NFL teams, there's all those colleges and everything like that, but sometimes it's a small world after all.